everyone. Hope everyone is doing well. Hope you had a wonderful week. And I'm back. Hello. Um, yeah, I don't know why I just did that. But anyway, I already did my eyebrows off camera and I already put the base for my eyeshadow because I didn't want to waste time on doing so. So today I'm introducing something very interesting now that I'm super excited about. As you can see from my smile, I'm super excited about it. Um, so this video is going to be uploaded on Saturday, probably Saturday. Yes. I'm still trying to get into this routine of me posting when I'm supposed to post. It's very difficult, guys. It's very difficult, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Um, so as you guys from the first video, I told you guys that my three topics mainly on this channel is going to be fashion, wine, and beauty, right? So after like for the past 2 weeks, I was like, I love wine. I love the whole process. I like how it's made. I like how, but I'm not that invested in it. And I was like, why are you going to talk about, I kept on asking myself, why are you going to talk about something that you're not that invested in, That means you're just going to give the audience like half of yourself, or like you're not going to give fully, you're not going to speak fully on what you love, So I was like, listen, there's like three things that you love on this planet more than anything, Okay. That came out wrong. I love a lot. Like, I love my mom and my family. Okay, but you guys get the point. I love forensics, and fashion and beauty, Um, yeah, I will have a separate video on how I just, my love for forensic came about. I think because that's just a long story and it's going to take a lot of time, So I'm introducing this new segment, and I'm going to be speaking about murder cases, serial killers, or issues that just keep on, that just constantly are in my head, or that I come about, or that I read, or and I'm just like, oh, really, that happened, type of things. And I thought that I should share them with you because, things happen on this planet. So, and this segment is going to be called Thriller Thursdays. So which means these types of videos are going to be posted on Thursdays. Yes, on Thursdays, because there was a case that I was busy with throughout the week, but then I wasn't. It wasn't as intense, and I wasn't feeling it much. It is okay. It is intense because what that man did was horrible, but it wasn't as intense. And I was scared to do this one as well, the one that I'm currently going to speak about on this video, because it's a huge one. It's a huge case. It was huge. It was huge. If you do follow, if you're into murder cases and forensics, you've probably heard about it or read it somewhere, But anyway, my first case for my Thriller Thursday segment is Mr. Jeffrey Dahmer. Zing, zing, zing. Zing, zing. Zing, zing. He deserves that zing, zing, zing because you guys don't know. Anyway, what am I doing? I'm doing my makeup. Let's get into it. So, Mr. Jeffrey Dahmer was born on the 21st of May in 1960. His parents were okay. His parents were okay. His parents is Mr. Lionel Dahmer, and his mother was Joyce Dahmer. Um, yeah, his father was still in university. He was studying physics. And his mother was a stay-at-home mom, and she was suffering from like a lot of anxiety. So she was very distant from her family. Well, sort of, but yeah. So Jeffrey was described as a very energetic, bubbly child, you know, up until the age of 4, where he had to get his double hernia removed. He was very energetic, he was playful, he loved playing with other kids, like a normal kid should, you know. So after he got his double hernia removed at the age of 4, he just started becoming very distant and very isolated. Um, he stopped playing around with other kids. He just withdrew himself from the general public. And that's when his parents started to notice, oh my word, something ain't right with Jeffrey. Something ain't right with Jeffrey. So they always tried to um, get him to participate in like school activities, for him to find friends and stuff. And the products that I'm using, I will list them down in the description below if you guys are interested in knowing what type of makeup products I'm using. But yeah, so Mr. Jeffrey Dahmer, he just he just became very distant. He just became very, very, very distant. And around the ages, it was said around ninth grade, he just he noticed, how for me, it was in life sciences, like we had to dissect a frog. Well, I think it was a frog, I don't know, was it a frog, but whatever. So they had to dissect a pig. So Jeffrey was like, oh my god, this is so cool. And he just started having this intense, I can't say love for animals, but yes, it was. He just started being very interested in animals and how they looked inside, you know. So he just started collecting roadkill. Yes, roadkill, like dead cats, dead dogs on the road, and he would bring them back home, and then he would dissect them at the back of the yard without his parents knowing of this. So obviously he grew more and more and more into this thing, and he was into bones mostly. He asked his dad, because his dad was into he was into physics and stuff, so obviously he knew about chemicals. And Jeffrey asked his dad, what could I use to preserve bones? And his dad was like, oh my god, thank the heavens, my child is finally showing some interest in something. And he thought in his dongers that his child was interested in physics, the whole process. Count the zero. But you don't know. You don't know. So he showed, Mr. Lionel showed Dahmer. Lionel is his father, remember? So Lionel showed Jeffrey how to preserve bones. you know. Mm, so smart. Yeah. So Jeffrey just knew how to preserve bones now. So later on, as he grew, um his love for like he started having these thoughts at around the age of 14 about he started having like deep sexual thoughts about other men. This is when he noticed that he was interested in men, sleeping with men, but in violent ways, you know, and killing these people that he slept with. So he was a, yeah, he liked. Okay, necrophilia is like when people love, um, they're sexually aroused by sleeping with people that are dead or unconscious. So that's what he wanted. He wanted dominance and complete control of the person that he was sleeping with. So yeah, that's when he started having these thoughts when he was 14, right? So he was scared, obviously. He was like, why do I keep on thinking about this? Why am I constantly thinking about this? And so he started drinking to just make himself forget about whatever like these thoughts were, like, because they just kept on bothering him and he couldn't stop them. So as time went on, obviously they didn't stop. These thoughts did not stop, and after a while his parents got divorced, and I think that affected him a whole lot. um so his father moved away into a nearby motel from where they were living, and his mother left. Oh, sorry, backtrack. Oh, before Dave was like, before the whole divorce thing, David's mother, Jeffrey's mother was pregnant, and for the family to, they wanted Jeffrey to be included in the family decision. So they gave Jeffrey the option, like the opportunity to name his younger brother. So he named him David, right? So let's get back to when they got a divorce, and Jeffrey's father moved out of the house into a nearby motel, and Jeffrey's mother took Jeffrey's younger brother and moved to the grandmother's house. They left, and they left Jeffrey alone. How you gonna leave Jeffrey alone? You don't leave Jeffrey alone. But they left Jeffrey alone at the house. So Jeffrey was like, yippee, this is the perfect opportunity for me to live out my fantasies, to just be within, to make my dreams a reality. I don't know why I'm just so hyped about this. I'm sorry because it's not funny. But yeah. So Jeffrey went to a mall, and when he came back, he was driving one day, and he came by and saw a hitchhiker. Alrighty, a hitchhiker. So Jeffrey stops him and is like, hi, friendo. Would you like to come back to my place and have some drinks with me? Hitchhiker says, yeah, I bet. I'm not gonna say no to free drinks. Sometimes you should say no to free drinks, guys. You should say no to free drinks. So he friend goes with, and they drink, and they have a good time. So friend obviously after like a couple of hours is like, okay, I bet I'm going home. Jeffrey's like, no, you don't have to leave. Friend is like, no, I have to leave. So obviously Jeffrey was upset by this. Jeffrey got upset a bit, and Jeffrey hit him with a dumbbell over the head. A dumbbell is those like gymming equipment things. Hit him over the head with it. So obviously poor friend died, and this was Jeffrey's first kill. Ding ding ding. And Jeffrey had to obviously get rid of the body. Like, oh, I have to get rid of this. And Jeffrey thought, oh, I used to do this with roadkill. Let me just disembowel the body. And he cut up the body and put it in a plastic bag. And he's like, okay, where am I going to take this body? And Jeffrey's like, okay, I'm going to take it to the dumpster. So he took the car and he drove, and he got stopped over by the police. And the police asked him, like, where you going? Do your parents know that you're using this car? What is happening here? So Jeffrey's just like, oh no, I just wanted to take a drive. My parents got divorced. I'm just clearing my head. So obviously the police felt sorry for him. Like, okay, you have to go back home. It's too late for you to be out here in any case. So Jeffrey's like, oh shit, let me just go back home. So Jeffrey goes back home, and then Jeffrey goes and crushes this guy's bones and just scatters them around the house, the backyard. So after a few days, Jeffrey's father comes back to come and check up on Jeffrey, to come and check up on his son. Well, your son ain't doing too well, sir. Come and check up on his son and to see how his son is doing. You're clearly not getting a job. You're just over here drinking all the time, so you have to go to university. So obviously Jeffrey's like, oh, okay, I bet, let me go to university. And he only attended university. He went to Ohio State University. He only attended university for like a week. No, not a week, a semester, sorry. And then he dropped out. And then he went back home and he started drinking again. And his father was like, no, this is not working. You have to go live with your granny. So Jeffrey was like, okay, I'll go live with my granny. And yeah. So Jeffrey started going around gay bars around the area, and he bumped into. So his second victim was a 25-year-old, and he took him back to a nearby hotel. And this is what Jeffrey said in one of the interviews, that he was asked. He was like, I was not planning on killing this guy. I just wanted to drug him and sleep with him. It's like, oh no, I wasn't planning on killing him, and that's all I wanted to do. I wanted to drug him and sleep with him. So that don't make anything better, that just, let me continue. So he takes this young guy back to this hotel, and they have some oral sex and stuff, and they get busy. But Jeffrey drugs this poor guy, he drugs him with sleeping pills. This was his thing. He drugged his victims with sleeping pills. He drugged him with sleeping pills, and yeah. And he says he just woke up in the morning and saw that this victim's chest was torn and it was bruised, and that his knuckles were full of blood, and then the victim had blood coming out of his mouth. So obviously the victim has died, Jeffrey, and you killed him. But Jeffrey has no recollection of doing that. Jeffrey was like, oh no, I did not kill this guy, but obviously he did. So do you know what Jeffrey goes and does? He goes and gets a huge suitcase. He goes out of the hotel, he goes and buys a huge suitcase, and he puts victim number 2 in the suitcase. Guess where he takes victim number 2? To his grandmother's house in the basement. Oh, grandmother, what about? But anyway, let me tell you, side note. Oh, I keep on forgetting things. Jeffrey had a mannequin Jeffrey stole a mannequin from a shopping mall and brought it back to the granny's place, and he said that he masturbated over the mannequin for quite some time, and then until the granny found the mannequin and was like, Jeffrey, what the fuck, bro? Like, what are you doing? What are you doing with all this? What are you doing? What's the point? You know? But anyway, let's go back to victim number two. Victim number two was taken back to Granny's place, and he cut and chopped victim number two, and he wanted to keep the skull. Like, he had this thing. Obviously, every serial killer has like some sort of a trophy thing, you know. So Jeffrey wanted the skull. He wanted the skull. So he now wanted to apply what his father told him to do, and like about preserving the skull. And he tried it. He boiled the parts, and he did that and that, and it didn't work. So he had to chop him up and just crush him, and he put him in the drain pipe. Yes, that's what he did. Put him in the drain pipe. So he's like, okay, no, I have to just give in to these urges. This is not cool for me. Like, it's not helping me in any way to just keep on forgetting and just trying to not give in to these dark pleasures of mine, you know. And so he continues. But then his father is like, no, you know, you have to go to school. No, since you dropped out of school and you couldn't handle that, now you should go to the army, join the army, you know. And this was around the Second World War. So Jeffrey went to go join the army. Jeffrey joined the army, and yeah, nothing was said much about that, but only until um he got disbarred and came back, and it was said that his officials caught him like just drinking a lot. He had a drinking problem. So he kept on drinking, and it was like, you're gonna go back home. You're not of use of us in any case. So they gave him an option of like, okay, you have a ticket to go anywhere in this world. Where would you want to go? Like, where do you want to go, Jeffrey? Jeffrey's like, oh, I can't go back home because my dad would kill me, because you know I already failed at so much now. I feel that everything I do, like I can't do anything. I couldn't go to school. Now the army has kicked me out. Like, oh, my life is a mess. Yes, Jeffrey, your life is a mess. It is a big mess, my friend. So Jeffrey's like, oh, I'm going to Miami. So Jeffrey went to Miami and he got a job. I can't remember where he got the job at, but he got a job. But he had a huge drinking problem, obviously. So, his drinking problem just made him drink so much, and his drinking costs were more than his rent. So Jeffrey stopped paying rent, and he got kicked out and ended up on the street. And he said that way he felt that enough was enough is when a rat started, like he was sleeping at the beach, and a rat just came and crawled up on him, and he was like, oh no, I have to. Yeah, a rat just came in and crawled up on Jeffrey. So Jeffrey was like, oh no, you know, I have to call my dad. And he called his dad, and he's like, I need some money. His dad was like, oh hell no, I'm not giving you any money. I can give you a ticket though, you know. I can get you a ticket to come back home. When I went to go pick him up at the airport, I saw him smile, you know, and Jeffrey, but then as he went closer, he was like, oh, Jeffrey's actually not smiling. It was just like, oh, do you know that awkward, you know, oh, you know. So, yeah, Jeffrey moved back, but then he went back to his grandmother's house, grandma, you know, and just things went from bad to worse. So he went again to these gay bars and started drinking again, and he got his next victim at a bus stop and did the same. He took him back, drugged him with sleeping pills, and uh, yeah, chopped up his body and wanted to preserve his genitalia and skull. You know, he did this up for his total murders were like 17, and they were all young men, like mostly African American, Latinos, you know. So he then later on, I think this was about his sixth victim. I think it was his sixth victim. You got a 13-year-old boy. You know, it's like, oh, let me give you some $50. He always used money. You know, like, let me give you how much you want to come and sleep with me and chill with me. And I'm like, oh, okay, let's go. Let's go. I'm not gonna say no to money and take pictures. So he got this 13-year-old boy, and obviously the 13-year-old boy was not, he didn't want to be in this situation. You know, circumstances just probably forced him to be in this situation of him selling himself. And he was like, okay. So Jeffrey offered him $50 to come take pictures of him. So the 13-year-old goes. He was 13 or 14. Correct me, you know. So Jeffrey goes back with this 13-year-old. So Jeffrey goes back home. Okay, no, wait. Excuse me. This was when he was still living. This was before his granny. He moved back to his granny. I think this was in Miami. Yes, or wherever he was working. And he also was working at a chocolate factory. The story is so complicated, but I hope you are on par with what I'm saying. You know. So yeah, Jeffrey took him back to his place. You know, offered him a drink and laced it obviously with sleeping pills. The 13-year-old slept, you know, and Jeffrey wanted to try out this new trick to like zombify his victims because he wanted control dominance. You know, he wanted somebody that he could keep forever and do whatever he wanted with the victim. You know, so he tried this new trick and he drilled a hole. Yes, he drilled a hole into the skull of his victim and yeah, poured acid in there. So this boy didn't even notice that already in his apartment there was somebody there already, like that Jeffrey had killed. Oh, he said that he noticed, like they probably noticed when he fell down off. So he probably noticed when he was falling from the sleeping pills that, oh my god, somebody is in here as well. You know, so poor boy. Yeah, so Jeffrey drilled a hole into his skull and poured some acid into it, you know, and he was like, he just chilled with the two dead, like, okay, the one was just unconscious obviously, but yeah, he chilled with the bodies for about 2 hours or so, and he was like, oh no, I need more alcohol. So Jeffrey went down to the liquor store and went to go get some alcohol. So as he was out, the young boy wakes up. Dang, dang. Oh, imagine waking up, but obviously you wouldn't know that, oh my god, there's acid in my brain, you know. He just stumbled out of the apartment and he was naked, by the way, and some 2 ladies or 3 ladies noticed him and they were like, boy, what's happening, where you from? And he couldn't respond obviously because you're one of it in the other room. So like they thought that he was drunk, you know, so they called the police. And the police came, you know, and they tried to ask him like, hey dude, what's happening, and so Jeffrey came back from the liquor store around the corner, and he saw that, oh my god, they have this guy. What am I gonna do? Zing, zing, zing. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? So Jeffrey goes up there and he's like, no, this is my friend, like he was drinking too much, and now, yeah, I'll just take him back home with me. So obviously the police back then didn't want to be involved in any like homosexual cases. They were like, oh, okay. His victims like his heart, and he said that eating their hearts and other ligaments, and he also ate someone's bicep. But anyway, let's go back to the heart. He ate their hearts and stuff because he felt like, oh, I want my lovers to remain with me. I want them to stay with me even when they're gone. Nigga, you made them leave. But anyway, so that's what happened. So Jeffrey gave his friend a drink, obviously. So Jeffrey noticed that he couldn't drug his last victim properly because he only had 2 sleeping pills left, and baby boo, 2 sleeping pills ain't gonna knock out a grown man, So he had a problem. He had a real problem. But he gave this 2 sleeping pills to this guy in any case, And after that, that's when he told him that, I'm gonna eat your heart. So this guy's like, did this nigga just say that he is gonna eat my heart? I gotta get the fuck out of here. So he asked Jeffrey. So he's like, hi, it's Jeffrey. Hi. Can I use your bathroom, So he went to the bathroom, and the guy thought that he would find like a window to escape, and of course Jeffrey don't have no window. So these freakos don't have no windows. So he comes back out, and he's trying to act as normal as possible, but it's very hard. So he's like, okay, Jeffrey, can I go back to the bathroom again? And Jeffrey's like, okay, yeah, sure, because Jeffrey ain't thinking. He knows in his mind. He's like, this guy's not gonna go anyway. In any case, so much noise, so much sound. It's just a lot. But anyway, back to Jeffrey. And also, don't come at me on how I do my makeup. It's me. It's just me. Don't do that. So Jeffrey is like, yeah, sure, Jeffrey in his mind is like, obviously this guy's not gonna go anyway, like where would he go? I already have him on lock, like, So this guy comes out of the bathroom and he sees that there's no way for me to get out of this bitch, So he just punched the fuck out of Jeffrey, and he ran. And Jeffrey, side note, Jeffrey put a handcuff on him when he told him that, I'm gonna eat your heart. So Jeffrey was like, handcuff. He was planning on tying the guy to something. Freako. But anyway, so guy ran, and he came by police officers. So he tells these police officers, there's this crazy guy who put a handcuff on me and who told me that he's gonna eat my heart. So obviously police officers like, what? Like, I told you he's gonna eat your heart. Let's go see this guy and probably can help you take this handcuff off, because that ain't no normal handcuff. There's that other type of handcuff, So they go to this guy. They go to this guy's place, called Jeffrey. So by the time I called Jeffrey, go. Jeffrey opens the door, like, oh, hi, you came back, he's trying to play. He kept with Jeffrey. Hey, get my police, sorry. So they went to Jeffrey's house, and then they opened the door, and Jeffrey tried to play it cool, like, oh, hi, sweetie. He came back, and Jeffrey noticed there's cops, and he was like, okay, yeah, I'm trying to play it cool. I'm just trying to play it cool. Jeffrey is like, yeah, his the key is over there in the drawer. So Jeffrey forgets that there's something else in the drawer. Yes, he forgets that there's like pictures of like his victims in like in the drawer of like them just cut up and stuff, so the police notice and he screams, it's like, I arrest that motherfucker, so they arrest. If he's like, I don't know where these urges came from, like you know just happened that I happened to like eating humans and sleeping with dead people, and I just wanted to keep their skulls. And he said that he was planning on building like an altar for these people, like Jeffrey. So yeah, that's the story of Jeffrey. I hope you enjoyed it. Come back next week for another murder case. Okay, so thank you for watching my video. And he died in 1994, guys. Just side note. Thank you for watching my video. Come back next week and hit that like button, subscribe, comment, and do all those wonderful things because I love you and I appreciate you for being real. Anyway, bye. Alright guys, Lena Lemaka Chippy